Hello, everyone. Boy, I know it's been way too long since I have created one of my videos for our Release and Create series. So I have, it has been a phenomenal few months. A lot of exciting things on the go, which I'm excited to share later on. But my guides kind of just downloaded in me. Okay, you know what? I just need to go and talk. I just need to go and say hi to everybody because I have been a little bit quiet here and there. Did launch. I did. Uh, Reactivate my Instagram accounts. So not only do I have this channel, Facebook, but now there's Instagram that I've been utilizing and kind of learning the ropes there. So I actually wanted to come on and specifically to what I've just shared with you and talk to you about pivoting. So, whether you are in business, whether you have a career, whether you're a stay at home mom or a stay at home dad, it doesn't matter what, where you are is irrelevant. It's just I wanted to come on and talk to you about pivoting. But before we get into the actual topic, because I'm kind of getting ahead of the game here, I just wanted to come on. As many of you know that have watched, that have been following, subscribe to my channel. I am Maria Esposito, and I am the founder and owner of Revolution 9. It is a wholeness training and wellness consulting company. I am your psychic healer, wholeness trainer, and conduit guide to your self awareness, your self healing, your self release, and revolutionary change. And it's regardless of what area that is in your life, whether that is just in a mind space of just being stuck, whether it's a space of emotional contrast or emotional trauma, whether that is just mentally feeling stuck and not really sure how to pivot and move, or it's, physical pain, physical ailments, and what that looks like. So, as you know, in a lot of my videos, as I've shared, so when things happen in a space of it manifesting at a physical level, most of the time that has to do with either something mental or emotional that's going on internally that you've been holding on to. Yes, I'm also encompassing energy, because energy held long enough can create mass within the body and hold space, and create various dis-eases or ailments within the body, pain in the body. So it's getting to the root cause of those and releasing if it is energetic, letting go if it's emotional, and and if it's mental, being aware of that so you could shift and change those patterns of behaviors, shift or maybe change value systems or belief systems that are not serving you. So this is what we do. This is how I serve in pretty much a nutshell, and the main focus is really group engagement and group activities. So really starting out in that space of getting community, building community, because what I've been learning is, and it really aligns with this topic of pivoting in life and in business or in career, whatever, it doesn't really matter what area. But when it comes to moving forward in a space and creating that change, sometimes we need to really have an understanding of where we are, what is it that we're not aware of that's holding us back, and creating those pivots and changes, because it's not the external world that is holding us back from moving forward. It's us holding us back from moving forward. So sometimes we are aware of it and we just don't want to see it. We don't want to deal with it. We're not we just don't want to own up to it and take accountability. Sometimes it's completely unconscious, or it's surfacing, or it's at the subconscious levels or the unconscious levels, and we're not even aware of it, But our greatest ally is our external world. It's our external world that actually shows us what is out of balance within ourselves. So, in a space of pivoting, so let's talk about pivoting. So I'm going to use the example of being in business because this is the example that I'm using because this is something that I'm experiencing. Now, this platform that I'm sharing, a lot of it I'm going to share my own personal experiences, my own perspective based on my experience, based on my knowledge, based on my credentials and learnings and whatnot, but combining everything. But keeping in mind, everything is always perspective. So whether you resonate with this message or not, it really is irrelevant because at the end of the day, we all are going to have our own beautiful, unique perspectives on various topics, people's, things, places, and whatnot. It's being able to find acceptance and letting go of judgment and letting go of expectation that helps to create harmony, flow, peace, and create abundance, on all levels of life. So in terms of pivoting, in my space, pivoting is I find that sometimes we have smaller pivots, little life experiences, things that, maybe shifting a day-to-day structure or a strategy. If there's something like us entrepreneurs, we have very unique schedules, but creating pivots, changes in those little day-to-day things, and then you could go to pivots where it's those life transformational pivots where it's almost as if you draw that line in the sand and say it's time for change. Creating a pivot, when you're creating resistance and you're resisting what what is being called to you, what is being shown to you, and you wanting to stay in your comfort zone. These are all different types of examples of pivots and making those changes, within our lives, within our businesses. And so it's been interesting because I made a very big transition and pivot, as many of you know, back in October of 2024 when the relaunch of my rebranded business into Revolution 9 from Evolution 6 Elite Property Investments. So yes, I did say that correctly, Elite Property Investments. So yes, I was a consultant for a good 10 years of helping people build wealth. But the irony in that is that wealth and abundance is not tangible. It's a mindset. So the type of consulting I did, I used the tool of reframing quite a bit because I think when dealing with people in the space of wealth, specific to real estate investing, a lot of logic tends to take over the other side of the story, which is what Revolution 9 is all about. It's the balance of the two, of that left brain analytical mind to the creative, spiritual, intuitive, emotional side of the brain. So bringing those two and creating harmony between the two sides, creating balance to the two sides. This is what Revolution 9 is all about. So getting back to pivoting, this is something that we all experience in our lives. Sometimes those pivots are within our control, and sometimes they are not. From my personal experience, Revolution 9 was created from something that I knew was in the works. However, my resistance to that change and making that pivot into where I am now was something that I resisted for, I'd say, several years. So it wasn't until literally the universe said, okay, done. And literally my life just pretty much went up in smoke, shattered. And even to this day, and this was literally from 2022, 2023, and putting back all the beautiful pieces together and creating what it is that is my life today. So it's interesting when we hit those times, and I find that a lot of it really does have to do with mindset. And when it comes to mindset and being comfortable, sometimes we get comfortable being uncomfortable. So when we're in that space of uncomfortableness, it's comfortable being there. Why? Because it's familiar. We recognize it. We learn strategies on how to maneuver within comfortable that comfortable space of comfort zone. So it's not until literally something happens that literally you really don't have any choices but to make those changes to move forward, to get into a new space of comfortable, that you're forced to make those choices. And it's been interesting because that's been interesting because that's been the theme of my life lately. However, I think the pivots have been a little bit more seamless. I do find sometimes being a very analytical person, which is beautiful because there's a lot of value in being, using that left brain and knowing how to work, ground yourself in that. That brain is it is a human trait that we need. That helps us to survive in this time-space reality. So there is definitely value in really knowing how to work with the left brain, But to me, life is all about balance. Everything is duality. So it's finding harmony and balance between the two sides, in all areas of life. So that is the key. So sometimes we need to take those opportunities that, evaluating and looking at what is the external world, what is my life showing me now, what is in harmony, what is in what's in imbalance, what's in balance. And it's really doing that work and going within and asking these questions. I had the wonderful pleasure to work with my beautiful colleague, Laura Canal, and we were presenters and speakers at this year's Peace Conference in Niagara Falls. And we shared our knowledge in the space of numerology, and as we are the numbers girls, as we're being known as in the spiritual community, and we were able to share our knowledge and the beauty of this, of our knowledge and our gifts in this space, and it wasn't until that that really brought in so much clarity by reaching out and being part of that. And sometimes you just need to do the things that make you feel uncomfortable. So for many of you personally that know me, know that public speaking has never been my forte. As a child, it has been my biggest fear. I've even in my 20s and 30s was something that was still taboo to me. It was something that, and something that really brought on a lot of fear within me. And again, it's confronting that comfort zone, and it's just doing it because I knew that as part of my own numerology soul codes, that it's part of me to be that guide in the space of group consciousness, be part of groups, whether it's creating community or being part of community, doesn't really matter. But it's really knowing who I was allowed me to push myself out of that comfort zone, because when you do that, when you have that clarity in who you are, know why you're here, and you're moving forward towards that, of course, life is always going to throw you obstacles and whatnot. But if you have at least that base knowledge of knowing, and having that clarity in your soul's purpose, why you're here, who you are at a soul level, and have that acceptance of self, that allows you to make these times of pivoting and making these times of getting out of that comfort zone so much easier. But sometimes you just need to get that clarity, and connecting with the people that you resonate with to help you uncover whatever that is, whatever your purpose is, or whatever that is out of balance within you that you're looking for release, clarity, awareness. So it's beautiful that being part, and getting up on that stage at the Greg Freeman Theater. And if anyone who's been at the Greg Freeman Theater, it's a beautiful big space with a beautiful massive stage that illusionist Greg Freeman does his beautiful magic work there. Phenomenal. Highly recommend seeing one of his shows. However, I would say 10 years ago or so, getting up on that stage, or probably even less than that, getting up on that stage I would have probably been petrified. But it was so interesting getting up there and just being all of me in a space of something that I'm so passionate and love and really enjoy, doing, that I didn't even feel any form of fear. All I felt that was being in a space of power, being in a space. And when I say power, I don't mean egotistical power, like I'm like this mighty woman and I'm the best. No, being attuned and aligned and being congruent, mind, body, emotional, soul, connected, and being congruent in that space, and feeling what I need to feel, and not allowing those emotions to get the best, and it was such an incredible feeling that, and that experience allowed me to realize that, what, I was definitely on the right path. So sometimes we need to, now I will say, prior to that, I was feeling a little bit anxious and nervous prior to that day. Laura and I were planning, and, especially for the workshop and what we were going to do, and then getting up on stage, and not knowing what to expect, brought a little bit of nervousness and anxiety. So it was really interesting to see, and it's interesting because sometimes our mind creates these stories within ourselves that, things are going to happen a certain way, or you got to do this, and you got to prepare for this just in case this happens, and all of these, anything to do with strategy, rationalizing, analytical perspective. That's all the analytical mind. That's all the ego. And when you align with that fully, that's where you get into trouble. So I kind of let that go and allowed myself to just be open to the possibility. Laura and I said, both of us, we improved our whole talk and said, no, no scripts here. We're just going to improv and allow our knowledge and our passion of the topic to let us flow through and answer any questions that people had and go from there. And that was how we went into it, and just allowing ourselves to be open to whatever came and just being ourselves, so it was lovely. So that's a great example of, pivoting is what, if there's an aspect in your life that you're looking to pivot, you're looking to change, and you're doing everything that you possibly can to prepare yourself for that change because it's coming, let that go and just flow through the change. Allow yourself to be aware and say, okay, this is how I feel. And you know what? Accept it. Be aware of it. Allow yourself to feel what you need to feel. But the next point, the next transition is just to let that go. Let that go. Be open to different possibilities, different outcomes, and seeing how things unfold. And without any judgment, without any expectation. And if you're able to master those two things, letting go of expectation and letting go of judgment as well, and just being in the moment and allowing the fear of the uncertainty of what may be to just let that go and just be. And these are all tidbits of pieces of information of how, 10 years ago, this would have been foreign to me. So these are all tools and these are all things that life has taught me. Of course, things that I have learned from the masters, my online masters, my online, mentors that I follow, and putting that. So I highly say, if you have people that you resonate with, like even, like for me, Wayne Dyer, Abraham Hicks, Lynn McTaggart, Bruce Lipton, all these phenomenal names that are in this space, and just allowing yourself to just flow through, letting go of that judgment, letting go of expectation, especially of self. We are our hardest critics. We think that the world is judging us and criticizing us. No, we are the worst critics for ourselves. So letting that go and just allowing yourself to be, and whatever it takes to find that space of alignment, congruency, and power within yourself, and that eventually will grow into building confidence, will build into growing into a space of alignment, and being able to more simplistically discern life, and understand what life is sharing with you, what life is telling you, what it's telling you, what's showing you, and understand what those meanings are, so yeah, it was a really beautiful awareness being part of the Peace Conference 2025, and I look forward to taking part in that next year. And another some more exciting news that I would like to share is for anyone watching this, as you know, being a beautiful, working with the modalities of hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, neurolinguistic programming, astronumerology, and my intuitive gifts coupled in, hypnotherapy has been a tool that has been around for decades, decades and centuries, and there's been a lot of misconceptions around the space of hypnotherapy and hypnosis trance, and I did a whole video on that, so please go check that out. And but what I've noticed, and this is kind of like twofolds for me. The first part of why I've created it and why I've reached out and have created this initiative is to create awareness, and this is part of my my give back. So those are the two main reasons, is, give back to the community, because I know that mental and emotional wellness is really a need right now. And if I could contribute by contributing these free and very, very, very affordable sessions, group sessions, for people. So the first initiative is I am doing one to 1.5 hour introduction to hypnosis, collaboration with the YMCA of Grimsby, so Niagara West. Um, uh, Niagara West, Grimsby, YMCA Grimsby, and yeah, I am providing these free 1 to 1.5 hour sessions of introduction to hypnosis, where I'm providing a little bit of explanation of what exactly the benefits and the misconceptions of hypnosis trance. I'm actually going to be teaching you it's an actual NLP technique, but it's also a self-inducing hypnosis, a light hypnosis trance, but it also has, among other benefits. So I'll be teaching you a technique that you could actually take home with you and practice, and then you'll be have the opportunity to experience a guided hypnosis trance. Last month was the launch, and last month's topic was on stress release. This month is all about pain release. So pain, when I speak about pain, yes, the guided meditation part will be very on the physical body. However, pain could come out in a space of psychological pain, emotional pain, physical pain. So this guided hypnosis trance will really help to release some of that pain, whatever you're experiencing. And it'll give you the opportunity to experience what hypnosis trance is. So if you're interested in feeling what, you've been curious about hypnosis trance and you would like to experience what that is in a group format, come join us. The first session will be Thursday, May 17 at 11:30 to 1. And then the next one will be May 1st, Thursday, May 1st, same time, 11:30 to 1. And you'll just have to, if you're a non-member, you'll just have to register at the front desk. The next initiative is for those that are local to Niagara Falls. So I have a collaboration with the McBain Centre, and this one's a little bit different, where I'm actually offering a 4-part series for $70. It's a 1-hour session, similar to what I'm creating over here, but the one in Niagara Falls, the YMCA is actually it's more extended, where this one is an hour long and it's more concise, but it's in the areas. The 4 sessions for $70 that you'll be receiving is in the area of stress management, pain release, memory recall enhancement, and intentional healing. So those are the 4 sessions, and those will be offered on Tuesday, May 27th from 7:15 to 8:15 p.m. And those will be consecutive sessions, those 4 sessions. So it'll be every Tuesday for those 4 weeks. So come join us if you're interested in learning more and creating some healing within yourself and want to experience what hypnosis trance could bring. And please join us. And stay tuned. Got a lot of other things on the go. And for those of you that are seeing, that are watching me internationally or outside of the Niagara region, stay tuned for some virtual exciting events that will be coming up in this space of healing and release. So stay tuned. Thank you for those that have watched this. If you think any of my videos would be of value, please subscribe, share, like. It will really help get my message out. And if you really feel that this would be of value to somebody, please, like I said, like, share, and subscribe. And until our next time, see you soon. Love you all. Bye.